everyone, it's Sharona from Pay or Wait, and today I'm going to be reviewing Batwoman Season 1, Episode 1, the pilot episode. So this is actually the second time that I've had the chance of watching Batwoman. I saw the pilot episode back in July at Comic-Con, but I wanted to make sure that I came home and just had my own little space so I can watch this episode and see how I really felt about it. And so where we pick ourselves up in this series premiere is we're 3 years after the disappearance of Batman. You know, many don't know where he's gone. People like Kate believe that he just gave up. He said, you know what, I didn't put my time in and I'm going to take my talents elsewhere. I'm going to retire on the beach. I don't need to save nobody else. And others believe that, you know, Batman was killed. And so, is in a state of panic because crime was going up. We see that Jacob Kane, who is Kate Kane's father, he created this private security firm called Crow Security, who has like the creme de la creme of ex-military, Navy SEALs, people who are highly trained and very good at what they do. And so they are the ones who have now been called to protect the city of Gotham. And so when we see that Kate is off in the middle of nowhere, she's going through some type of training. She's was trapped inside of water, trying to get through the ice, and we see she finally breaks through where she goes, and then he's like, "You weren't quick enough." And so she's in some type of training, and we see that right now what she's been going through is she's been trying to find a way to prove to her father that she's ready to become a part of the Crows. So she has dedicated her life to making sure that she can be the best of the best, that she's training, that she's doing everything that she can to make her father want to let her be a part of this group. And so she's interrupted in her training when she's given a phone call from her half-sister, Mary, who basically tells her that her friend Sophie has been taken away. And so at that time, we don't really know what the relationship is between the two, but it seems that that's someone that Kate really cares about enough to make her return back to the city of Gotham. And so we see that there is a party that is happening in Gotham City where they're retiring the bat signal. The people of Gotham have kind of had enough. They're like, hey, it's been 3 years. This man ain't came to save the day not one time. So we're going to retire this signal one last time. And of course, we have to make a party out of this. So they have a party where they're getting rid of this bat signal. But in the middle of the officers about being ready to turn it off, we see that we're introduced to our villain, Alice. Her little lackeys, they basically have killed the officers, and she basically says, we ain't gonna worry about this bat signal. I'm doing what I want to do. And so they end up kidnapping Sophie. So now everybody is on the hunt looking for Sophie. So we see that Kate returns, and then she talks to her father, and then basically he kind of dismisses her you know, her offer to help try to figure out what happened to her. And so essentially she goes looking for answers at Wayne Enterprises. We see that it looks like an abandoned building now, that there's nothing that has been happening since the disappearance of Batman. Also, too, would have to coincide with the disappearance of Bruce Wayne. And so we're introduced to Luke, who is, I was like, sir, what type of protection are you giving for Wayne Enterprises? Because in the first 5 minutes of you meeting with Kate, she already locked you to the wall. So I was just like, what is happening? What is going on? But I kind of liked the vibe that he was giving me. And I love the interaction between those two. And then also, too, her trying to explain to him, like, this is my uncle. I understand that you work for him, but, like, we're relatives. And I like how at the end he was like, I could totally see the relation. I thought that was super cute. But we see that she kind of gets a clue as to what has happened to Sophie. She takes this information to her father, thinking that this is going to make him be like, oh, okay, I want to include you on what we're trying to do. But of course, he kind of pushes her to the side and sends people to go and look for her, which leads them to an abandoned building, an abandoned, I believe it was an abandoned orphanage. And so as she goes, she swoops in because he turns around. He's like, where did Kate just go? She goes in, and then she starts fighting off some baddies, and then she ends up being caught by Alice. But what I would have to say is that I really did enjoy the action sequences when she's fighting. I thought that the choreography was done very well. It didn't look, you know, too choppy or not realistic. I thought that I really enjoyed that. I was like, okay, I see you guys with the action here so far. And so we see that she's introduced to Alice. And Alice has a nice little interest. I don't know why all the villains, they got to have this whole little monologue and say all these things. But Alice kind of gave her the tea because she was just like, ma'am, she was like, ain't nobody checking for you, because if I was checking for you, your daddy wouldn't come. And the whole purpose is I'm trying to get his attention, and he doesn't care about you the way that he cares about Sophie. And so this really kind of brings back in this whole theme of, you know, Kate left trying to find a way to get people to accept her, to get her father to accept her, to make herself, get him to realize that she's worthy enough, you know, not only for his love, but also too to be a part of the Crows. And so this is kind of this reoccurring theme of, you know, Kate's journey as she's trying to find herself, find her purpose in the world, and decide whether or not she's going to live to try to make others accept her, or she's going to try to basically create her own path, her own lane, to do what she wants to do that makes her happy. And so we see that she goes back to Luke's office, and so we see that she's trying to get him to tell her where Bruce is gone. Like, I know you know where he is, what is happening? And then she looks over in his office and she realizes something is out of place. And so we see that she ends up discovering his lair. And I thought it was so cool kind of how when she's first introduced into the lair, we see the bats swarm across her. I thought that was so well done. And then we see as the bats kind of stop swarming that they unveil the suit, and then she's like, whoa, like, he was Batman. And I just love that whole sequence of how all of that looked. I thought it was super dope how all of that played out. And so basically we go into kind of this flashback. So we saw at the beginning of the episode that it shows that she's having this flashback of her sister and her mother. We keep getting little increments of everything that happened, but we see that, you know, there was a car accident and basically Batman came to save them, and he basically secured the car so he can try to figure out who was behind it. But Kate was able to get out, but before she can get her sister or her mother, the trap that he had to hold the car, it basically broke and they fell into the water. And so this was what led to her resentment against Batman. So now all of this is coming back as Luke is trying to explain to her he never understood why that never worked. He knew that he had secured the car enough for all of you to get out of the car to safety. And so how it always bothered him, how it plagued him each day, knowing that he was responsible for the deaths of her sister and of her mother. And they talk about how he was never able to find the body, which we'll get into at the end of this review, how this leads to the big reveal of the episode. So as she's kind of coming to terms with everything, and we see her kind of looking around, and he's trying to tell her don't touch stuff, don't touch the weapons and things like that. But I thought it was cute how when Luke basically tells her, she's staring at the suit, and he was like, this suit is literal perfection. And then she was like, no, but it will be when it fits a woman. I was like, oh, drop the mic, drop the mic. I know everybody else is probably like, that was so cheesy, but that is the type of cheesiness that I need. I felt it for that line. You know, I normally don't like cheesy dialogue, but I felt for that, it worked. And that's what I enjoyed about this episode. I felt as though while they're taking this new direction of having Batwoman, of having, most people will say that they were turned off by a feminist agenda. I didn't feel as though this episode was trying to beat it over your head. I thought that everything was done with the right level of doses. It wasn't too much on either side. I thought everything was perfectly balanced in this episode. And I think also too, introducing the relationship between Kate and also to Sophie Moore, who is a member of the Crows, and we see the backstory between her and Kate's connection as they were both kind of in military school together, and then they were caught having a romantic relationship with each other, and they were asked to deny that they were basically gay, and Kate decided that she didn't want to do that, that she was going to stand up and just be like, hey, I love who I love, I want to be who I want to be, and I'm not going to change that for anyone, and not even for this school. But I enjoyed the conversation that Sophie and Kate had between one another when she's basically confronting her. She was like, you signed the paper, and she was like, I don't have the same luxuries that you're afforded, because you're rich, you got money. Like, if you don't want to go to military school, girl, you still got coins. You can do whatever you want to do, but I don't have those same luxuries that you have. And so I appreciated that these situations are a little bit more realistic as to what will happen. And I love that they're bringing up situations like this where you have people, you know, that were willing to, you know, serve their country or, you know, kind of go in that route, but because of who they are, they would have to basically deny who they are as people. And so I like how they introduced that arc into the show. And I felt like it flowed just fine. It was no different than any other relationship that they have on a different superhero CW show. So I thought that it was very well done, and it was very low key. It wasn't too much. It was just right how everything happened. And so we kind of get to learn a little bit more about Kate's family. Her dad, Jacob Kane, he remarried. And then basically he has a daughter, Mary, who came off a little bit annoying at first, but I love that they kind of went into how she's decided to use her going to school to become a a doctor, how she created this underground clinic where she basically helps people, how she ended up helping Kate after Kate was injured and left for dead after her whole interaction with Alice. And so we see that Alice kind of confronts Jacob when they have this whole Gotham City movie night. So the whole big deal is they want to start having public appearances. This is the first time that Gotham City has felt safe enough to hold a public event without any threat coming, you know, to harm the people of Gotham. And so Alice tries to cause disruption when she plants a bomb in the middle of the park. And basically Jacob is met with a choice where he has to choose between saving Sophie or he has to save the people of Gotham. But Kate comes in as Batwoman and she saves the day and she saves Sophie. She's fighting Alice. They get into it. She leaves because Alice basically had, whatever she did to the little tank that was like basically holding Sophie up. She basically gets it to fall out to where Sophie falls to her death. But Batwoman saves her, and I love the look after they crash and land. And she was like, "You're him." And she was like, "No, you're not a him. You're her." I don't think she said it like that. I totally like added all that extraness to it, but I love this whole reveal, and I love how after the fact when the little girl sees Batman, is like, "Batman's back," and then we see kind of the shift where we see Jacob still doesn't want to come to the conclusion that Batman has come back to save Gotham, because of course this will lead to problems with his company, the Crows, but also too how they're like, "He's back, he's alive, what are we going to do?" And I love how Kate kind of has this final discussion with her father, basically, you know, "Will you let me be a part of the Crows?" And he was like, you can do whatever you want to do. I was honestly trying to protect you. I already lost your sister. I already lost your mother. I didn't want to lose you. You all that I had left." And that is when she sees the headline and she realizes that she has to create her own path, just like her cousin Bruce Wayne did the same thing. And then that's when she basically makes the choice to become Batwoman for reals, and she's not gonna mess with the Crows at all. But of course they had to throw us a couple of twists and turns up in here. So we find out that Alice was basically in cahoots with Doug, I don't even remember what that man named, Chuck Dodson. She's in cahoots with him, which led to Sophie getting captured in the first place. And then we also see that there's kind of this huge reveal that revolves around Alice's character and who her true identity was. And I saw it coming, but at least when it happens at the end, I was just like, "Oh my gosh, oh my goodness." I needed all of that. But the twist that really hurt me the most was the twist with Sophie, when we realized that Sophie is now married to a man named Tyler, who is a part of the Crows as well. She don't look like she really that happy. I was like, "Girl, you don't love Tyler like that. You don't love Tyler the way that you love Kate." But I'm sure some mess gonna happen, because we gotta have some drama. We gotta have love triangles in the middle of this superhero show. But my overall thoughts and how I felt about Batwoman, I enjoyed it. I thought that it was a lot better than what I was expecting. Everyone's been kind of trying to trash Batwoman, or "I don't like the agendas. Why does she have to be gay? I was just like, y'all, let's just watch the series." And after me watching this first episode, I want to see more. I thought it was a pretty decent episode. It was enough twists and turns to make me want to tune in to next week as we try to unravel all of these extra secrets, these added layers of secrecy between everyone. But I would definitely tell you guys to watch Batwoman. I love the action. I thought the action choreography within this episode was good. I do want to see them make some tweaks to the costume. I didn't love the costume as much. I felt like the face was just so bulky, but I think that was done on purpose because this initial suit was not made for a woman. This was Bruce's suit trying to, you know, make it work as best as it could for Kate. So I can't wait to see when she kind of fully has, like, you know, her outfit. And also too, you know, now I can understand why when we see in the previews, she has the hair to really show this is a woman. This is not the Batman that you're used to. This is a new person on the town to help save the day that is a woman. But I love the direction that they're going. I love the inclusiveness that they have within this show. I love all these different boxes that they're checking, but it doesn't feel like they're checking the boxes. It flows. It's natural. It feels normal. And that's all I want to see on television these days. But yeah, so for me, I liked the first episode of Batwoman. I think that it fits well into kind of this Arrowverse with all the other shows that the CW has. I can't wait to see what else that they have in store for us. So check back in next week. After I watch next week's episode, I will be trying to do reviews on this. And make sure you tune in tomorrow. I will be doing reviews for both Black Lightning, which makes its season 3 premiere return, and All American, which makes its season 2 premiere return. So as always, those are my thoughts on Batwoman season 1, episode 1, the pilot episode, because I don't know what the name of the episode is. But as always, my name is Sharonda from Pair Waits, and if you like what you saw today, make sure you hit the like button, hit subscribe, share this video with your friends, and make sure you hit that notification bell. And I know that this is a DC Comics show, but it's okay. I still love you guys 3000. I'll see you soon.